welcome to episode number 21 of the Pound for Pound show. I am Philip, as always, and joining me are Ben and Russ. How you gentlemen doing on this tournament Monday night?
Excellent. Good, Phil. Very good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. I trust you guys still have perfect brackets and are ready to win some big money.
Brackets are for show. Betting the games is for dough.
The way to do it. So, yeah, winning the bracket was luck. No one
has one. Give me a break. No one has Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16. Get out of here.
Yeah, true. That's true. So, cool. We could talk about the tournament though, but the people didn't tune in. People watching the show don't give a you-know-what about basketball. They're here to talk about fights. So let's get to it. We'll quickly recap the main event from this last weekend. The MVP of the COVID era, Kevin Holland, lost to Derek Brunson. So I'll flip it over to you guys. Ben, you can give us a little breakdown and then throw it over to Russ. What do you guys think? What did you guys see in that fight?
Yeah, Brunson showed up. He had a great game plan, wrestled him. He knew Holland's weak point. Holland's got a big hole in his game. We just realized, and that's his ground game. So he's got to work on that immediately, or else he's not going to beat the top 5 guys. But yeah, Brunson performed great. What else can you say? He did what he had to do to win. Smart game plan. Russ?
Yeah, I mean, Ben nailed it. It's a huge hole. Like, it's shown, like he's shown it before a little bit. You know, I mean, that wrestling's his weakness, but this one, it was just exposed massively, and it looked bad. Like, he's going to have to either they're going to have to strategically match him up against strikers, or he's going to have to really get with a better team, because they have not adjusted and gotten better at that at all. And Derek Brunson just exposed him. And, you know, Brunson is the gatekeeper that ruins hype trains. So he did it again.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And now he called out Costa. So he wants to wrestle him. And you called it, actually, Phil. Like you said, like, don't be surprised if Brunson grinds it out for 5 rounds and just makes it a boring fight. And
yeah, good job on that.
While I was watching it, I was like, yeah, Phil said this was going to happen, and this is exactly what's happening.
Yeah, that's like I said, I feared that might be the case. So, because like you said, like Holland is, he was a step up in competition for him, and guys like that, they just have the ability to take those guys that don't have a real well-rounded game and do what they do. So, not the most entertaining fight, but like Ben said, it was probably his only path to victory. So I guess he had to do what he had to do. So I'm pretty confident he won't get the Costa fight unless they want to see Brunson get massacred on pay-per-view. But who knows? Costa's a weird dude. Who knows when he's going to fight or what he's going to do. So he's an enigma all unto himself. Could be some pre-fight wine in the mix. You never really know Costa. So he's an interesting character. But what do you guys think's next for Kevin Holland?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
I haven't thought about who his next opponent was. I just thought, like, it has to be a striker, because you don't want to have him go in there and have boring fights, because he is fun to watch and he's enjoyable. It's not nearly as enjoyable when he's talking the whole time losing, but still he's fun to watch, and I'd like to see him like get some more wins. But I haven't really thought about who his next opponent would be.
Same. I mean, an option would be Heinisch, I guess. He just lost not long ago. I mean,
he said he wants to go to 170. So
that is a smart move. He's a small middleweight. So came in at 183.
Yeah, so maybe thinking welterweight. I don't know.
Maybe, but if wrestling is not his MO, I don't know that 170 is the division he wants to go to.
Yeah,
that's
Usman, Colby.
Yeah, that's the wrong division to mess around with if you're not a good wrestler. So
yeah,
especially at that top level. But it's funny when you said he has a big hole in his game. I thought for sure you were going to say he has a big mouth. So he's an entertaining dude. It was funny, just real quick. I don't know if you guys saw, because I didn't catch it during the fight, but they showed after, in between rounds, when he was asking Khabib for wrestling advice.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, talking to Khabib and Dana during the fight, it was unreal.
Yeah,
maybe talk to your coaches, not Khabib.
That's what Khabib told me. It's like, you probably need to focus on this fight. It's funny when you're Max Holloway and you're whipping somebody and then you're talking trash to the commentators is one thing, but when you're getting it handed to you, you should probably use that time to game plan a little bit.
Getting it handed and never adjusting at all. Like, his coach has never told him, like, hey, you have to finish, you have to, use your range and not keep jumping in there. Like, he was almost like lunging in with punches. It's like, the Brunson doesn't even have to try that hard to take you down if you're going to do that. And he did it over and over.
He went for his own takedown in the 5th round. Like, what the hell was that about?
That's a crazy stat. First person to ever take down Brunson in the UFC.
That is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I guess he was probably like infinitely caught off guard by it because like it just made no sense because he had, unless Holland has this hidden like 6 submission game, which he don't. You know, it just made no. It just like was like conceding. Like you have 5 minutes. You have to try to go out and win this fight. You're gonna grind out a loss. Like, what are you doing?
Not a good look.
Yeah, poor game plan. So, but all that being said, we'll move on from that card. Be curious to see what happens next with those two guys. Super exciting though. We'll kind of change gears real quick. You know, as we mentioned Khabib real quick, they finally decided to take his belt from him 15 years after he retired.
Yeah.
And they announced, you know, we talked about it a lot on this show, what they're going to do. And it looks like they went the route that Dustin's got something lined up. They probably haven't announced it. Certainly, I have to assume it's the third Conor fight. And then they're going to do Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira for the belt. So it's going to be in May. That's a huge fight. So we won't get too deep into who you guys are picking. And
yeah,
you know, we'll have a whole show for that. But that's really exciting news that they're finally
fantastic
in that division. And we all agreed that there had to be 2 of 3 people, those two and Poirier had to be 2 of the 3 people in that fight. So it's hard to be upset about that matchup. So
yeah, I cannot wait for that fight.
Yeah, announcing that fight is announcing Conor Poirier 3. You know what I mean? Because like otherwise Poirier's in the title fight. That's a no-brainer. So it tells you he chose the red panty night over the title fight.
Yeah,
so, I mean, good for him. That's his choice. He's going to make major money, and then if he wins, he can still get the title shot. So it works out.
Absolutely. It works out. He'll go make another huge payday. Russ will lose another bet, and life will go on.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Good stuff. Well, let's get to the. You know, it's been a big month for heavyweight fights, and it's all been leading up to this Saturday. So, you know, we can dig a little bit into. You know, we'll talk about a couple of fights on this card, but let's really talk about the main event. We got Stipe, debatably the best UFC heavyweight champion of all time, fighting debatably the scariest UFC heavyweight of all time in Francis. I kill people for a living in Ngannou. So, Russ, I'll throw it to you first. Kind of give us your thoughts on the fight, how you think it's going to break down, and what you think we're going to see, and then throw it over to Ben for the same.
I've been thinking about it nonstop, and the more I think about it, the less confident I feel in Francis, just because Stipe has been so great for so long. He just seems to be getting better somehow. Like he looked better against DC the last time out, but at the same time, he's 38 now. We haven't seen him fight anybody besides DC in forever. And Francis is like on fire right now. I think it's like similar to, I feel like the same way I felt with Conor and Dustin, the last fight. Like I feel super confident in the first round. As soon as it goes past that, my confidence drops by like 80%. Goes to the third round, I'll spin that wheel because Francis isn't winning past the third. So
yeah,
it's got to be a big KO. I mean, I don't know. Can Stipe still take that huge shot at 38 years old, you know, and since he's been knocked out by DC, so it'd be interesting to see, but I think, I don't know. My heart's still telling me, Francis, but I don't know. My mind tells me Stipe might get it done.
Yeah.
I just think he can stretch it out again.
You made some good points, Russ. I think if Francis comes out there swinging, he needs to probably finish it in the first round. I'd say he's got a pretty terrible gas tank. So second round on, his gas tank just goes like that, and the deeper it goes, it's Stipe's fight. So if Stipe can survive that storm in that first round, it's his fight again. He just needs to wrestle him and just wear on him. Really, I think Stipe comes in with the same game plan. But Francis has looked pretty much unstoppable his last 4 fights. He had that 2-fight skid, and then he's come out and finished, I think, his last 4 in the first round, was it? And yeah, he's looked very scary. So we could very well see him knock Stipe out in the first round. Everyone's chin goes at some point. Is this going to be when Stipe's, we see that Stipe's chin goes this fight? But I'm taking Stipe. I'm going to say Stipe gets it done by decision again. He does the same thing, wrestles him, and fights smart. He's a smarter fighter than Ngannou, I think, and he's gonna show it on Saturday. Phil, what do you think?
I think smarter is probably an unfair statement, but I think he has a lot more tools in the toolbox. So, you know, I think Stipe is, you know, definitely, you know, has a lot of ways to win this fight. I hope Stipe, I'll be rooting for Stipe. I hope he takes a different game plan in the first round, because it seemed like he was almost wanted to strike with Francis in the first fight and ended up dodging and ducking and moving around a lot and got hit not super clean, but he took some pretty tough shots. So I would think that Stipe will probably come out with a slightly different game plan to weather that initial storm. He might shoot in for a quick takedown and try to get Francis off his feet very early, which I know is easier said than done. But I think that, Stipe would be naive to try to go into it to the same way. But, that's, you're going to have to deal with that Francis freaking firefight for the first few minutes, because he came out and like I said, I went back, you watch some of the highlights in that Rosenstruck fight. Like, it was unreal. He just came out
windmill
winging haymakers from last Tuesday. It was wild. So, if he does that, Stipe just has to be smart. And it's funny, Russ, I think you do the same thing that I do. Like, I've 100%, like, my confidence could not have been shaken that Stipe would win. And every day we get closer, I get a little less confident.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Francis hits really, really hard. I don't like the prospect of seeing anybody get hit by that guy, whether your chin is questionable or not. Like, that dude could hit a boulder and knock it out. So
right. He's the hardest hitting man in UFC. So you don't have to have a questionable chin. It just has to be a shot that lands. Like, Stipe was lucky enough that he absorbed it last time, but it's such a tough fight to call, man.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a real interesting one. But again, I mean, you guys, you don't have to be like a real, super astute analyst today. Stipe's just got to weather the storm, not get hit with a bunch of clean shots early, and he should be able to start to take the fight over as it goes past there. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive Stipe gets if it goes past the first round, trying to finish it this time, to put a definitive, statement on it, be the first guy to finish Francis and, really remove all doubt that he's the better fighter. So,
yeah, I'd be shocked if he finished him, but it could happen.
I heard pretty good analysis by DC on it. He said, we've seen Stipe like in these long fights, the last few times, and he keeps getting better. Like, DC said it firsthand, like, he was better. Like, when he fought me, like, he keeps improving. And like, we don't know if Francis is really improving because every fight's so quick. Like, what has he worked on from the last time he fought Stipe? Has he improved as much as Stipe has? It's unlikely.
Yeah. So I agree. And that's why I think that, because I think Stipe, kind of going back and watching the fight, once he got Francis on the ground, played it fairly safe, and he wrestled him, and you did enough to keep him down. But, does he, think of like how aggressive he was when he got Mark Hunt on the ground and he landed, I think it was like a record for UFC fights or heavyweight fights at the time for like how many strikes he landed. Like, if he gets Francis on the ground, he knows Francis can't get up. And is he just going to really let loose and try to get this guy out of there? Because again, like, you saw how lean Stipe was last time. He's not going to get tired. That's what, I don't think it goes the distance either way. I think if he ends up getting him to the ground, he's going to be more aggressive, just ground and pounding him. And he'll end up in, the later rounds, I would say, maybe third or fourth round, getting him out of there. So.
Yeah, I agree on that. I'm going to touch on that in best bets. I feel the same way.
Good stuff. So, well, we'll touch on a couple other fights real quick, and then we'll let you make the people some money this week. So, super bummer. Was really looking forward to the other title fight on this card, the Volkanovski-Brian Ortega fight. Such an intriguing matchup, and now it's off because Volkanovski has to be quarantined. So hopefully it's not delayed too awful long and they sneak it onto one of these upcoming cards in the next month or two at the latest, and we don't have to wait too long to see this fight. It's just a super intriguing matchup. So
great matchup.
Yeah, be curious to see how Volk does against a championship caliber fighter that isn't Max Holloway and the new and improved, as Ben calls him, Bald Ortega. It's like he's leveled up. It's like,
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he evolved like a Pokemon. It's like
that's what it looked like against the zombie.
Yeah,
his striking was on another level, man.
Yeah,
right.
Crazy.
Yeah,
he better come into that fight bald, man. He better. I know he's got some hair going. You better shave that, man. No joke.
It's a weird analysis, but we won't get too deep into that because we got some other fights to talk about, and then we'll have nothing to talk about when they fight. So we'll just hope Volkanovski is safe and hopefully get to see that fight soon. But so now the co-main event is going to be former champ Tyron Woodley fighting Vicente Luque. My mistake. So how do you guys see that one playing out? Ben, you go first.
Oh man, Woodley needs a win so bad, and not just a fight, a freaking round, man. But I don't think he's going to get it done against Luque. Luque's the better stand-up fighter. Arguably, he's one of the best stand-up fighters in the welterweight division. He's kind of the dark horse of the division. So I think Luque is going to stuff the takedown. I think Woodley's going to still be timid from his past 3 losses, which were terrible. So I think Luque gets this done. I think Luque finishes Woodley. I feel pretty strongly about that. Russ, what do you think?
Yeah, you'd have to be out of your mind to bet on Woodley at this point. Like, the dude hasn't won a round. Well, not one round in his last 3 fights. He's just gotten worked by everybody. And Luque's on a good streak. He's won 8 of his last 9 with his only loss coming to Wonder Boy. So, we know he's good. I think he'll get the win. And I think this will probably be the last time we see Woodley in UFC. I think he'll just be like another one of the veterans that's highly paid, and they'll just cut him because he's not winning. Maybe see him in Bellator, or maybe you guys can pick up some of his rap albums.
Yeah, I agree. I
own them all already. You guys know I'm on the Woodley bandwagon. You guys know this. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely had that thought. I was like, this is like a must-win fight for Tyron Woodley if he wants to stick around with the UFC level, or maybe he can fight Yoel in Bellator or something like that, because he's not going to be in UFC if he loses his fight. The only thing that's interesting about this fight is, Ben, I agree that Luque is probably got some killer stand-up, but we might see Woodley get a little more aggressive because he's not afraid of being taken down. In the last 3 fights, every time he engaged, he ended up on his back.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to be the case in this fight. So hopefully we see, Woodley throw in some of those haymakers, and at least it's an entertaining fight, win, lose, or draw. We don't see Woodley just like back against the cage, afraid to engage and afraid to do anything, and just, gets bullied for the whole fight. That'd be a disappointing to see a guy accomplish as much as he has to kind of go out like that with another terrible loss.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
He goes out on his shield. So be it, man. But yeah, just go out there and throw some of those haymakers and try to take Luque's head off.
Go for broke instead of just, going out like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, and then lastly, the return of Russ's guy, Sugar Sean O'Malley, is back fighting Thomas Almeida. How do you guys see that one going?
That's a tough fight. I don't think the odds are exactly where they should be. Like, Almeida's like a 3-1 underdog to Sean, and Sean hasn't fought the best competition, even though he's only has the 1 loss to Cheeto. He's coming off a pretty decent layoff, and like, Almeida's fought a lot of tough dudes. He fought Garbrandt, Jimmy Rivera. He's fought tough guys. So I think it's a closer fight than the odds say. I'd still say Sean gets it done, but I don't know that it's going to be an easy fight for him.
Yeah, that's a tough fight to call. Both guys got really good stand up. Both guys are dangerous. I think Almeida's fought the better competition, like you said, Russ. And I think Almeida gets it done. I'm a bit biased because I can't stand Sean O'Malley, but I think Almeida gets it done.
Yeah, it's interesting. You guys covered a lot of the things that I thought. That was the first thing I thought when I saw the odds. I was like, man, they are crazy. Like they are riding that sugar hype train like crazy. Like, do they not remember what happened? And Almeida is definitely a more quality opponent, but I'm with you, Ben. I'll certainly be rooting for Almeida, but I think O'Malley will end up getting the win. But I think it's gonna be a much closer fight than maybe the odds makers. They certainly think it will be. So,
okay.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a kind of a technical striking fight, and I think he wins by decision even.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
So. Well, cool. Well, we won't break down every single fight on the card. That's the majority of the main card. So we'll throw it over to Ross for some best bets, and then we'll get out of here and let you guys get back to watching whatever tournament games you guys have tonight. So Ben, you're doing a weird point thing.
All right. Last week, 0-1. One of the fights we lost. Tuivasa got a new opponent. Would have won that one if they didn't switch opponents, but oh well. And lost on Kevin Holland, who just looked helpless against the wrestling of Brunson. This week I got 3 because it's a pretty big card. I feel pretty good about these. Going with Miranda Maverick minus 180. She's fighting Jillian Robertson, who has submissions, but like that's about it. Miranda Maverick's like a young prospect. I just think there's a higher upside, and the line's only minus 180. So give that a shot. Taking Thomas Almeida plus 240. That line should be a pick 'em. Like I not even sure that, like he's going to win, but like plus 240, that's good odds.
Good odds.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking Francis by KO at plus 105. Like he's minus 130 straight up, but I mean, I'll eat my shoe if he wins by submission or decision. Like it's not gonna happen. Like it's KO or nothing. So you could also, I'm taking Francis by KO plus 105, but like if you were to going with Stipe, you can get him plus 200 by KO or TKO. I thought that was pretty good odds.
It's really good.
I'm not
odds.
taking that one in particular, but
yeah. I like your bets this week.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about him. I don't feel great about
we had this conversation a few cards ago. I think he's on the Miranda Maverick bandwagon just because of her name. Like I think
no,
once before.
I swear to God, I think she's a top prospect. Russ knows she's good. She's good. Watch and see.
She's good, and Jillian Robertson is just incredibly average. So
isn't Jillian Robertson the chick from X-Files?
No, she might be.
That's Jillian Anderson.
So Anderson.
Come on, that was a quality joke.
Yeah,
it would have hit harder if I was an X-Files fan, but like,
Dave would have liked that.
I was like, is her name Jillian Robertson? I don't know.
Yeah. So.
But Miranda Maverick, I'm actually saying she'll be champ by April of 2021.
Wow, that's a bold prediction.
Yeah, month, so
I'm playing.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
see how that goes. So, well, cool. Anything else you gentlemen want to touch on before we get on out of here?
Not really, man.
Yeah.
I think we covered all of it.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, good stuff.
Are we doing a wheel spin on that Francis Stipe fight?
Ooh, yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Like,
okay,
the title fight. And
what a shame.
We're on the opposite side, so I am firmly in Camp Stipe. So that's who I'm going to go with.
I'm firmly in Camp Stipe as well.
I'm doing the wheel spin on the Francis thing just to be a team player because I don't feel great about it. Like this is not like where I felt like Connor was going to win against Poirier. This is like I feel very skeptical.
Well, again, but that's you. Remember you were taking a heavy favorite in this fight. Like let's not make it sound like you're like rebellious and you're taking Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Francis isn't a heavy favorite.
I thought he was.
He's minus 130.
Oh, that's mine's
still the favorite.
Way down. Yeah. I mean, minus 130, but it's come way down. It'll probably be a pick 'em by fight time.
Right.
Yeah. Dang, my punishments are going to be building up if Stipe loses, man.
No, because that was paying him off on Saturday.
Well, that was the last thing I was going to mention is for our tens of thousands of fans who watch weekly. You guys are going to get to see some of the payoff as we've got all three of us have a payoff and Ben has two payoffs.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we're going to be knocking these out on Saturday. There are tons of eggs and a durian fruit already in the fridge waiting for us. Saturday is going to be pretty interesting. We might all be too ill to watch the main event, so someone might have to we might have to go online and see who won. So
yeah,
gonna be a disaster.
It is for sure.
It's gonna be a brutal night for all of us. So
oh man, yeah, it is.
Ben may be hospitalized before the main event.
So yeah, most likely.
Curious to see how that goes, but hopefully you guys will. We'll have some clips for you guys before too long of that. Everyone enjoy the fights this weekend, and we'll be back next week if we're physically able to recap the pay-per-view and talk about some more upcoming fights. So until then, we'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, see you guys. Thanks for watching.